Jedi, at last we will have revenge. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Now you will experience the full power of the dark side.
Welcome, followers of the Dark Side and the Light. I'm your host, John, the real JP3. And I'm joined, as always, by my good friend and fellow Sith Lord, who's the master of the dark side, expert on the occult, and obtainer of rare antiquities and holocrons. Please welcome Dark Lord of the Sith, David.
Johnny, how the hell are you, my man?
I'm good. That intro was perfect for your Darth Vader shirt you got on there.
How so?
It's a Dark Lord of the Sith.
Oh, well, also his palps and, you know.
Yeah, but you got a Darth Vader shirt.
Yeah.
Is that the one from Celebration?
Yep.
So,
Chicago.
quick story on this.
Chicago.
Quick story on this T-shirt. So Dave picked out a few T-shirts.
I picked out like two.
And then he was like, "Oh, look, they're making T-shirts over there." So I got my Kylo Ren shirt. Oh no, this is Darth Maul. Way off.
Not Kylo Ren. Hold on.
I got my Darth Maul shirt, and then Dave was like, "I like this one. What do you think?" I said, "If you know, because you can't tell Dave will spend money if he wants to." I was like, "If you want to get it," he's like, "Yeah, I know that, John. I need you to give me a little bit more than that." I said, "It looks pretty cool. I would put it on this color and this color." So then we're getting ready to check out, and he's like, "John, I can't do this. I gotta go get it. I'm gonna the completionist. I gotta go and get it." And I said, "Okay, go get the shirt." So he got like 6.
Yeah, I ended up getting this one. I got the one you're wearing. I got a Kylo shirt. I got a Boba shirt. A Han and Chewie shirt. I think that's it. So I walked away with 5 of them.
Yeah, they did. The company that made these shirts did a really good job. Like, they're nice quality shirts.
They were screen printing them right in front of you, kind of thing.
And the shirts are very comfortable, very soft, and they made actually all the shirts in the Celebration store. I think they told us, right?
Yep.
So anyway, we digress. I just thought I'd mention the Darth Vader shirt.
Yes, and your Kylo Ren Maul shirt that you're wearing right now.
I actually don't think I got a Kylo Ren shirt, but I thought it was. Oh well.
Anywho, what are we? Episode 103? Is that right? 103, my man. We got a lot to talk about this week. There's some comic talk. There's some Mando talk. There's some toy talk. Triple Force Friday. What else? Dun, dun, dun. A tidbit that The Rise of Skywalker is going to be the most violent Star Wars film that we've had to date. Still don't have a runtime. Still don't have much else other than the 2 teaser trailers that we got. But we got some time. We got some speculation. We got some Rule of 2 stuff, man.
Rule of 2. What do you want to start with? You mentioned a bunch of stuff. So what do you want to talk about first? You want to go a little small stuff?
You know, I've been really amped up about The Mandalorian. So we're going to go with that first. But before we get there, it's been a fun, random couple of days for me. And I haven't told you this. So those of you that know me, if you have maybe me on Instagram or the show on Instagram or even the Facebook page, I have a black Camaro. My black Camaro plates say DMN Sith. And like I have a little license plate trim thing that says Sith Lord. Twice today, I got bombarded by random dudes with sports cars also at stoplights rolling up to me. And like I hear like a whistle, and I've got my windows down. I'm chilling, listening to my music, right? And I turn and look, and there's this cat that's looking at me, and he's grinning. He's got the biggest grin in the world. And I just like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Right? I have no idea what he's gonna tell me, what's going on. He's like, "Dude, Star Wars, Sith Lord," like, and he gives me like a thumbs up, and I'm like, "Oh, like, dude, like, awesome, man. I appreciate it. Like, I love Star Wars." He's like, and like we're yelling from car to car, and we're at a stoplight. And he's like, "Dude, I love Star Wars. I had a black Mustang. I traded in. Like I always said that car was like my Vader. But now I got a white one, and it's like, like I downgrade. I got a stormtrooper, and like we were just like laughing back and forth. Like literally, that's what the guy tells me, and I was like, dude, that's awesome, man. Like sick looking car, and like we went back and forth and talked about cars, and all the while we're at the stoplight, and I turned to him, I said, hey, Rise of Skywalker, what's up, man? He's like, dude, I am so pumped, and like he's an older guy, like he's got gray in his beard, and he's just an older cat, but he's cool. He's like, man, I am so pumped about that one. And he looks at me, he's like, the Mandalorian. I'm like, the Mandalorian. He's like, dude, Fav. I was like, Fav's the man. And like, all this is taking place in the matter of like 2 minutes, and we're just like bum rushing, hitting each other. He's like, dude, Disney Plus, Hulu, Combo, ESPN. I'm like, like I'm just laughing the entire time, John, because it's awesome. And then I was like, hey, I got a podcast. Me and my buddy, Star Wars, and let me hold on one second. I have one of our pins that I left. Like that was just in the car. I don't know why it was in there, and like I get it, and I was like, hey, I throw it to him, and he catches it through the window. He's like, dude, this is bad, man. I appreciate it. He's like, I'm gonna check you guys out, and then the light turns. Like it was just a random fun interaction. No way did the guy know I have a podcast, anything like that. He just saw the license plate and immediately said, I'm gonna roll up to this dude. I'm gonna have a convo. And we had like a 3-5 minute convo at a stoplight, and it was amazing Star Wars interaction. It was just so random. I loved it. John, have you ever had? Well, you don't have any Star Wars like identifiers on your car or anything like that, but
No. So the thing I got out of that was that you said this guy was an older cat because he had gray hair. And I was like, Dave, you have gray hair too in your beard or your whatever this is called and your actual hair. So,
yeah,
I don't know if he's really that much older. I'm just
I'd
saying.
say he's an older cat. But that was a great Star Wars little moment, just random like Star Wars chat. And then the day before, I was driving just locally through town, heading to work, and all of a sudden this little white truck like speeds up on my right side, gets in front of me a little bit, and then pulls back, and I turn and look, and I'm like, what the hell's this guy's problem? And it's 2019, anything can happen. Maybe I've pissed him off at some point in time. I was like, no, I didn't cut anybody off. Is this guy gonna like come at me or something? I turn and look, and he's grinning, like just grinning ear to ear. This time I don't have my windows down, and he's like, your plate. Like he's pantomiming to me. He's like, Star Wars, Star Wars, and like he opens up his shirt while driving, mind you, which isn't safe.
Ah,
And he's got a Star Wars shirt on underneath, like his t-shirt or his button-up shirt. And I was like, dude, yeah, like appreciate it. And like we just laughed, and then he turned right, and I kept going straight. So random Star Wars stuff. I love those kind of conversations where you just bump into somebody and be like, hey man, pretty cool Star Wars shirt. Love it. I do it all the time because I'm random as hell. I don't
yeah,
even
he
do
is.
it. I don't even do it as a plug or to start like anything specific. Just I love talking Star Wars. Random people. It's amazing. Had drinks with a few friends the other night at Alamo Draft House. Didn't watch a movie. Just rolled in, knew the bartender, wanted some beers, had a few beers, talked some Star Wars, which I think I found a couple guys that are down to play some Star Wars Armada. So just throwing it out there, Johnny. You gotta dust off the ships, man. You gotta get ready. Gotta get ready, man. But no, that's just my random Star Wars conversation. Do you got anything like that? Anything you want to share? Anything out of your pocket?
No, I had one today. I was meeting with a vendor about something for my job, and I was talking. The guy was like, "Oh, I'm from Chicago," and I was like, "Oh my god, I was in Chicago like in April, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan." And the lady that was with him was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." We started talking, and then I was explaining to him like we went to Celebration, and the
Yep,
weather
yep.
was crazy, and the snow. He was like, "I know exactly what week you're talking about." He said, "I know exactly." I said, "We went to the pier, and it was so cold,
It
and
was
then
rainy.
yeah." And he said, "And I went to a Cubs game, and it was so cold." He's like, "Yeah, Cubs game in that time of year is not good. You got to go during the summer." I was like, "We weren't there in the summer, but we were freezing."
Star Wars
And
brought us
I
there in the winter, so we did it.
and so
Was
I
it in
was
the
just
winter?
laughing.
Shit.
No, it was in April, and he's like, April's hit and miss." But then we were talking about. He's like, it's a common theme that people don't live in Chicago for the weather. They live in Chicago for Chicago. I was like, yeah, I don't think I would want to deal with any of that. So we started talking about that, and then like I made a Marvel comment in like reference to our work and the things that we were trying to do, and the lady was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool! Oh, like we're a Marvel household," and like that went off on another
That's
tangent,
awesome.
and we started talking about Disney and all this other stuff, and it was funny. So it's interesting you say that because yeah, that did happen to me today, but it doesn't happen. It's more of like I was in a meeting presenting out to our directors, and I was talking about Star Wars toys that are coming October 4th, and everybody was, and
Triple Force Friday. Sorry.
I went into all this detail about like this is the 9th movie, it's the end of the Skywalker saga, and everybody's just laughing, and like
They're like, you like Star Wars, don't you?
my VP, and they all know it. My VP's just like smiling at the fact, and then like all of a sudden, like, oh, and Frozen 2 as well, and they're like,
That's
John,
awesome.
is there any information on Frozen 2? I said, there's some toys coming out, and they're like, but you can't. I said, well, the first movie was pretty big, and Disney wasn't expecting it, so we're expecting this one. It's been like 4 years, and they're like, that's all you're going to give us on Frozen when you gave us like
10
all
minutes on
this
Star
other
Wars.
stuff. Yeah,
That's
everything else.
awesome.
I said, well, I'm sorry, I don't know much about Frozen. I said, I know it was a big movie and it was dancing and singing. I said,
And
that's
Let
about
It
it.
Go and all this other.
And so it kind of cracked me up, and everybody was kind of laughing at me that they like I went into that much detail. But there are usually people who are like, "Oh my god, yeah, sorry." And then when I say I have a podcast, they're like, "What? I've never heard of anybody that's even had a podcast
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
This is possible?" I said, "It's a lot of work.
It's fun,
A
though.
lot of work.
It's fun, though.
Sometimes Dave lets it be fun."
It's always fun.
And not Mark Zuckerberg. We will not
We
crash
won't
ever.
crash. Hey, there's nothing wrong with we don't John, we don't want to crash. We don't want to crash for not for you and me, but for the people listening, John. The people watching.
People watching.
We can't crash for them, John. Like I 100% I'm a Star Wars fan. John, you're a Star Wars fan. I listen to other podcasts. I enjoy hearing other people talk about topics that have different takes, different perspectives, and like I've said it 100 times before, you and me, we're fans. We got mics. We have a little recording thing. That's all it is. That's all it is. I love it. But anyway, those are my random Star Wars events out in the real world that I just thought I would share because again, it brought a goofy smile on my face. I was jazzed.
So he shared it because we were getting ready to talk about the Mandalorian. He remembers the guy was like, "Oh my god, the Mandalorian!"
Yes. And this happened right
Anyway,
after I was rolling out of the darn furniture warehouse place that I'd been for like 30 minutes longer than I wanted to be. I was like, hurry up, dude. But yeah. So, just note to self, John, I think it's good that you carry patches and little pins with you at all times because you never know.
just throw them at people.
You never know. That's what I'm getting at. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining us. Episode 103, The Rule of Two, a Star Wars podcast. It's gonna be a fun one, and I didn't tell John I was gonna do this. Didn't tell
He
John I
never
was gonna
does.
do this, but I'm gonna throw a nugget out there. I'm gonna throw a nugget and let's see where it lands. A lot of you may know, you listen to us. There's another podcast called Rule of Two, and they're on the Collider Network, along with another fantastic show called Jedi Council, which they're one of the ones I listen to. We get mixed up with them all the time. People try and reach them and get us, and vice versa, whatever the hell you want to say. Which has led to conversation between me and John. John, what has that conversation led to?
I don't know. I didn't know we were talking about this.
We're just dropping nuggets. We're not saying anything crazy big. We're not saying final, definite names, but we've decided we've got to rebrand. We've got to rebrand.
Rebrand, and relaunch.
We have to, and the reason being is we got to grow. We want to provide great Star Wars content to you guys, that guys and gals, grist, chiss, Rhodians that listen. But we got to get out of the umbrella of Collider. We got to forge our own path. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll be dropping pictures on our Instagram, Facebook page of potential new names, logos, imagery. Love some feedback. Hit us on the DMs. Wherever you want to annoy John. But we got to rebrand. It sucks. I love our logo. I love our name. John's got a banner in the back. I've got shirts. I've got a friggin' phone case. Um, you know, it sucks, but it's something we got to do. John, how do you feel about the rebrand future and letting
So
go of
this
the
was
past and letting the past go? Tyler Ren style.
so this was this. So let's talk about it since we're talking about this.
Yeah,
even
we
though
got to
were
talk about it,
talking
man.
about this.
Got to talk
So
about
this
it,
was
man.
something that
Where's the
Dave
elephant
and
in the
I have.
room? Where's
We were.
the
This
porg
is,
in the room?
Are you gonna hush?
The Wookiee in the room. Sorry, I like Wookiee better because it's bigger.
So this is something that Dave and I have talked about before. And we went back and forth and we had talked about it with like a couple of people. And everybody's like, no, don't change your name, blah, blah, blah. Well, we continue to be confused or get mixed up with Rule of Two with Collider. And so we've gone back and forth. We've talked about it. This decision was not made lightly. It was very difficult, and we talked about it for like 3 or 4 days before we finally said, "Okay, we're going to do this." Because we like the name. It's like what we do. It's like a baby. It's like it just turned 18 years old, and we're going to kick it out of the house.
It's our podcast, baby.
And none of us have kids. Neither one of us
baby
have
pod.
kids.
We got dogs.
So we got dogs.
We got dags. Got
We
dags.
got like a dog farm.
Dags.
But anyway,
Sorry.
So it was not an easy decision, but it's a decision we felt we needed to make. And so our goal is to make this as seamless as possible for you guys. So you're going to see picture changes. You're going to see name changes. You'll know when it happens when we talk about it, but just be aware that it shouldn't be seamless. You're not going to have to go re-like a page or re-sign up or do anything else. We really want it to be
we want to cater to you guys, the listeners.
Just to let you see, all of a sudden there's a different picture, there's a different name, same two guys doing the same thing that we always did before, which talk Star Wars. And David's Johnny Bravo hair over here. So just a thought, just some things that we went through. Let us know this episode is going to air. You're going to know about it. We don't know a name yet.
We're narrowing it down. We're working with an artist. We're going to get some stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. It's really going to be cool. I think it's going to be better than what we are now, which I like what we are now. What about you, John? Sorry, that was a weird moment where you're drinking a bottle. I give you a second.
I agree. I agree. I think it's something that's really cool. It's called the Rule of Two. There's two of us. I also told him I like how it sounds. It's like we are the Rule of Two, a Star Wars podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. And like I got my like MC voice down and a lot of other good stuff. And he's like, you can change it. You can be different. Positive uplifter over here. And so I liked our name. I really did. And it was something that we started, almost like 2 years ago now.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
And so,
103 episodes ago.
And so it's something that, again, I want to reemphasize. It wasn't an easy, light decision. It was difficult. And it was one we felt we had to make. So we made it.
But again, we're keeping you guys in mind. We're making an easy transition for everything. As we start getting closer to that date and getting more official images, things like that, we will start transition. We'll start talking about it, but you're going to wake up one morning, and the Rule of Two will no longer be the Rule of Two. It will be something else. Very similar to the Empire as it crumbled. Operation Cinder gave birth to the First Order. The Rule of Two will give birth to something else. Another show. A better show.
With the same two friendly faces.
That was great. We're just...
You need to tell the editor, please use that in your pre-shoot.
All right, hold on. Let's do it again for those. So those of you that are not watching on the two of you, it's just me and John making a goofy face for like 2 seconds, so bear with us. Those of you that are listening on another platform. So, John, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Okay, we're good.
Editor, please make sure that you add that as our funny post before we post the episode. FYI. So, what we're here to talk about today
is that the fact that John, the real JP3 Pantuso, is about to embark on a journey to get all of the rest of the It Funko Pops for Chapter 2.
Okay.
Take it away, John.
I'm done with this dude. I'm not talking to him anymore. So anyway, we were talking earlier about The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
As all of you know, Entertainment Weekly did some interviews with the Mandalorian cast, crew, And so they kind of went through, and so Star Wars News.net kind of summed up an article of some of that conversation. And what happened is EW asked Favreau if characters like Thrawn or a Legends character like Mara Jade could find their way into The Mandalorian, and Favreau gave the most professional and smart answer possible. I'm going to read it for you, just to put it in context for you. I don't want to talk about anything that might be fun for people to discover. We do have conversations. Part of what's fun to see if we could merge the worlds of the original trilogy, the prequels, the sequels, the Clone Wars, and what's been considered canon up to this point, and what's been considered part of Legends. I think this show offers an opportunity to bring in all those elements, so no matter what your flavor of Star Wars ice cream you like, there will be something to enjoy, but you're asking the right questions.
Way to go, Fav.
Yeah, so Fab is very, very good.
That's what happens if you hang out with Filoni.
Well, Filoni is like, he's still like, well, yeah, like Filoni stutters and stumbles through things. Like I felt that Fab was probably like, you know, like quickly, never really saw that it bothered him or it affected him. But yeah, and this is something we've talked about a lawless time. It's after the Empire, obviously. This is exploring the Outer Rim, the unknown region, so many different areas with that Western feel that we could potentially see other people brought into this from a Legends canon standpoint. Personally, I'm okay with it. I want to see it. If you provide it to us, that's great. If you don't provide it to us, I'm okay too. But I think it'd be really cool what other characters and what other... I think it opens the door. If you bring them in on The Mandalorian, then you've now made them canon, right? Yeah, you've now made them canon, and which opens the door for anybody else to potentially use them in the future.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see a Thrawn in it, though.
I
I
don't
don't think so.
I agree. Well, so yeah, so sorry. Thrawn is already canon, but
No, when I say that, I meant a live action version of Thrawn.
yeah, and we've gone back and forth on this several times about should be Thrawn be in live action, should it be this, should it? I think it's got to be handled very carefully, just like, I think the one that for sure we agree is Ahsoka can't come to live action. Like,
Well, she
if
can, but
Ahsoka
it would just be so hard because everybody loves her and has that, that expectation of how they envision her to be. And if you get one thing wrong, then
yeah, and not to mention everybody loves Ashley Eckstein as the voice of Ahsoka. I can't see Ashley Eckstein as the physical being of Ahsoka, and that would probably throw people off and upset them if she was not the one playing Ahsoka and just voiced her.
who knows?
Just a thought.
Maybe they can find a way to have somebody else's body physically there, and then Ashley voiceover. They get them to mimic their mouth the exact same way. I don't know. There's always a way, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for what the Mandalorian brings. It's coming up close. You mentioned toys. You can't get into it because it's a work thing. Triple Force Fridays around the corner.
October 4th, mind you, October 4th.
There's been leaks and stuff like that we've seen, and I think it's already been official that there's going to be a Mandalorian Black Series figure. Is that correct?
I don't know. I can Google.
I want to say that there's going to be a Mandalorian, the main character from Jedi Fallen Order, the male, the Jedi, the second sister. I don't know if that's the second or seventh. I know I'm thinking of Sarah Michelle Gellar's character in Rebels, but it's gonna be awesome. Triple Force Friday, Mandalorian. You can bring him home before you bring him home to Disney Plus.
Yeah, so if you think about it, The Mandalorian airs in 3 months from tomorrow, or today, the 12th, the day the episode airs. November 12th, Disney Plus streaming service will release. Don't forget to sign up, log in on time so you can watch it, and then we'll go from there. But you bring up toys. There was some information released that there would be a vintage collection of Star Wars toys that will be released. The Episode 9 ones, Rey, Poe, Zori Bliss, and Sith Jet Trooper that will be released on Triple Force Friday, which is October 4th. Let me see here. I'm just pulling up my handy information guide, aka Google.
Google.
It's going to give me the Black Series figure. No.
Yeah, I want to say the Mandalorian's one of them, which that's awesome. I'm jazzed for. He just looks like a beast.
It was on this link, but I don't want to waste like super a lot of time trying to find it. But
yeah, no, you're good.
Dave's probably right. He remembers stuff like that pretty well and knows kind of what's going to come out and kind of follows that stuff. I got to remember to order that stuff so you can get your Fat Thor.
Oh man, I love Fat Thor. I can't wait.
So you got those toys coming out and things like that. Another interesting thing is like the Star Wars show. I don't know why I would say shore. The Star Wars show aired Wednesday, which is the day today, which we're recording, and talked about the Rise of the Resistance ride, which is coming to Disney World on December 5th and Disneyland on the 17th of January in 2020. And they actually showed a snippet of what Poe Dameron's X-Wing looks like, which is the all-black, stealthy type X-Wing that's on display, full rendering, full size, outside of the Rise of the Resistance ride, which, if you guys didn't know, the Rise of the Resistance ride takes you on a trip to meet General Leo Organa, and on your way there, you get thrown into a battle with the Resistance and the First Order, and you're taken captive on a First Order trip, and then you go through there and you're like ensued in on the.
You can't talk right now, can you?
I was gonna say Galactic Death Star.
First of all, you said getting sued. You mean pursued?
Ensued. I meant ensued.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you're being pursued.
Oh no, ensued in the thick of a battle, and then you basically take a tour and check out the Rise of the Resistance, which I'm super excited about.
And you make it sound so bland. You're like, you take a tour. No, you're moving fast through the shit because the shit's going down. You got Imperial walkers ahead of you. You got, apparently, spoilers, Kylo Ren's supposed to be like throwing his saber through the ceiling and coming down at you. It's supposed to be freaking intense. Like it's gonna be bad, man.
So this is one that I was like, no, because Dave's like, when are we going to go to Galaxy's Edge? I said, when they open the Rise of the Resistance ride, because I just want to see how massive the inside of this hangar bay is, because I'm a tall dude and I want to see how big it actually is. So I'm excited for that. So we get to see it. It's actually, there's a picture of it. We'll post on our Facebook social media pages. Go from there. The other thing the Star Wars show talked about, which it was a little, we got Age of Resistance coming out. You got Age of Resistance Rey and Rose Tico, which is a comic series, which both released on September 18th. You have, with the Rey series, you're looking at her, and they did some not some pre-snippets, a first look type of thing.
Previews, yeah, little reveals.
Yeah. And in this reveal, you see Rey having a conversation with General Leo Organa. And then in the Rose one, you see her having a conversation how her and her sister's relationship kind of came to be and why it's so strong. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was interested. I thought it was interesting though.
What was the Rose Tico comic?
Yes, like, is it fan service? Is it we need to give her and build her up a little bit? Like I don't get it. I don't get it.
It could be a couple of things. It could be that her character is a beast, is a game changer, has a major role to play in Rise of Skywalker. Could be it. And now we're getting a pre-flush. We're getting to know her better before the crescendo. Or it could be a way of saying, like, you know what? Kelly Marie Tran, she did a great job, which she did. She did the role that she was paid to do. Whether you like her character or not, they want to celebrate it. They want to celebrate because, again, what's the best way to show somebody up to succeed? So maybe they're doing, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you a Rose Tico comment. You might not like it, but you're going to watch it. You're going to read it because she's a valued character that she's bringing so much of the galaxy, the universe. I'm gonna shove her down your throat. She's front and center. She's not going anywhere. Almost like what Lucas did with Jar Jar. The
True.
fans went
That's a good
crazy.
analogy.
The fans went crazy about Jar Jar in the first one. Yeah, he scaled back a bit in the second one, but in Attack of the Clones, there's almost one scene where Jar Jar looks at the camera and winks. That's almost like George, Ahmed Best being like, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. Get used to it, whether you like it or not."
See, I just winked
Oh
without
my
closing
god.
both my eyes.
As I'm talking about something serious about Rose Tico, you're learning to wink over there. Look at you. I'm so proud
No,
of you.
no. So Dave's like, John, you need to learn how to wink. And this was like 5 years ago. It's been a while.
And it's only
I
taken him
was like,
37 years to learn it.
and literally, I was like this. He's like, and so then I like held my eye open. I was like, he said, John, you just stop.
Yeah.
And so randomly, like I'll sit here and I was watching myself, and you were talking about winking. I was like, oh man, and now I can't do it. But anyway, sorry.
You're thinking too much
I
about
digress.
it, man. Grown
Hey,
man
editor,
can't wink. Love it.
Editor, add that part in there too.
About you winking?
Yeah. I want to record myself, and I just send it to people and be like, I'm winking at you.
Either way, it's a good thing. Personally, I don't really like the character of Rose Tico, but maybe she's going to bring something great to the table that is going to redeem her for all the fans like myself that weren't a fan or maybe didn't connect with her on screen like a lot of people did for The Last Jedi. Because I know there's some people out there that love her. Hey, that's your prerogative.
So, do you think that this comic could give any information into more in depth about her character that may change your mind about her?
You never know. You never know. I do like to get all the trade paperbacks of that run. I've gotten them for the Age of Rebellion, the Resistance one, not yet. Republic, I've got them. So I'm gonna pick it up in a trade paperback, whether I like it or not, and I'm gonna read it. Maybe I'll love the character afterwards after this, and maybe I say to myself, John, I need to get a picture with Rose Tico at Celebration. This comic changed my mind. It's possible.
If he does that, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably pass out. Or like fall and faint or something.
Okay, but think of it this way. I'm not the biggest Ahsoka fan. I think Ahsoka's story should have ended a long time ago. But I still took a picture with Ashley Eckstein.
You took a picture with Ashley Eckstein with two other people in the picture with you.
She was still in the picture. I could have gotten one without her.
No, I don't believe it.
There was the option. There was.
I know there was the option, but still.
But still, I did it. I wasn't the biggest fan of hers.
You did it because you're a completionist.
What's your point, John?
You did it because you were a completionist. So if Rose is the only, like, let's say, which I don't think this is true, let's just say that you want to take a picture with John Boyega and he only has a picture with Rose Tico, you would take it if it was somebody you really wanted a picture with and it was a completion thing for you. So if you took a picture with Poe, Rey, and I'm trying to think of who else.
Adam
Jonas. Driver. Yeah, Adam Driver.
Oh, Adam Driver. He's such a beast.
I got to get a picture with FN2187 and Rose Tico. Like, you would do it.
Well, we'll see. Celebration's around the corner.
Amen. So, yeah, I'm just curious. I just was something when I read it, I was like, or when I saw it, I was like, really? Rose Tico? But I think I get it. It's something to kind of build her up, like you said, character that not a lot of people liked, and they felt, Rion said, like, we're super excited about what Kelly Marie Tran has brought to Star Wars, what she will continue to bring to Star Wars. We're excited to have her, and her character's great. A lot of people disagreed with it. We could see something, and we've talked about this in The Rise of Skywalker, that completely says, holy moly, her character was a necessity, and we now get it.
Exactly.
And if that happens, I'll be the first to admit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here on Rule of Two, episode 103.
You have to earmark that because they'll forget. So another comic that we're getting is Supreme Leader Snoke #1. And so I jotted down some additional notes for this one because it made me laugh.
Okay, what do you got?
There are potential spoilers. This did come out today on September 11th, Wednesday, September 11th. So there are some information, but some spoilers could be in here. We may learn a little bit more about how he became a supreme leader or who his master was in this comic.
Okay.
However, we know that it's set before The Force Awakens. There is a time where he is grilling Kylo and really challenging Kylo because he wants them to be filled with like emotion and anger to be able to use that towards an attack. There's even a scene. This is no like attack on this individual, but this is like a true David mindset and moment of things that he would do to somebody if he really needed to like make them understand or like help them along, as he calls it.
Okay, I'm really intrigued right now.
He hovers Kylo over a cliff and then drops him on a bed of spikes. This is Dave.
Have I ever dropped you on a bed of spikes, John?
No,
Well, then.
but come very close. There was that Mount SOB.
Oh, damn you, man. That's so be.
He wants him to really, like I mentioned, he really wants to harbor rage. And this is interesting. You're going to agree with this. I was like, no, I don't agree with this. So Snoke hates Kylo Ren's mask. He thinks it's a sign of weakness. So this has obviously been out there. This is a sign of weakness. And he feels that it's very much Darth Vader-ish, which is in the past, and the First Order's in the future. And he can't stand when Kylo wears it, which is very evident in The Last Jedi, where he's like, take that ridiculous thing off. Something interesting, and I didn't catch this in The Last Jedi, but Snoke knows about the Cave of Evil on Dagobah, where Luke encountered encountered Darth Vader to kind of help with his fears. And Kylo and Snoke end up there to help with Kylo's training, where he comes, and so I had another thought.
I was about to say, like, I think you kind of
that's completely wrong.
Lapsed there. Yeah. So in Last Jedi, we don't know much about Snoke. We don't know much about Kylo. We want to know more, and it looks like this comic's gonna give us that Snoke, Snokey Poo, and Kylo, they visit Dagobah. Obviously, this Force cave has immense power that Snoke knows about it. And what does Kylo see in that Force vision that he has when he goes in the cave?
Isn't it?
It shows you in the comic. It shows you.
I feel like this is what I wrote down, and I can't even read my own handwriting.
All right, so in the cave, Kylo has a vision of Luke Skywalker. So that is Kylo Ren's biggest fear, Luke Skywalker. When Luke entered the cave, his biggest fear was Darth Vader.
Yes.
The thing is that when Luke attacked that vision and, made a hole in the mask, he saw himself. So will Kylo see something similar? Or is that Kylo's fear in general being a failure in his eyes? Not living up to his father's legacy that he's trying to live up to now.
I don't know.
You gonna pick up the comic?
I don't know. This one intrigues me though.
It's a one shot. You can pick it up. When is it dated? When's it coming out?
It came out today.
The comic came out today?
Yeah, September 11th. It said it released today in the article.
Well, hell, tomorrow I'm going to a comic shop.
I was like, I don't think we have comic shops where I live. And I was like, oh my God, no. If you have comic shops then where you live, I have comic shops where I live.
Yeah, you got a comic shop. I guarantee it. But get a chance to know more about Kylo, more about Snoke. I'm down, man.
I don't know. We've had some fans reach out to us and like, what is y'all's obsession with Snoke? Y'all talk so much about wanting more from Snoke and understanding him. And Dave, like, basically outlined the reason why. Like, there's so much we don't know about him and so much more we want to know about him that I think it really kind of started when all of this came through with episode 9, the Emperor returning, the trailer. Like once we got all of that information, then we started asking the questions of like, okay, who is Snoke really is. Now, granted, Dave was asking in episode 7, like,
Yeah, I
who's
had
this
a
guy?
laundry list of questions.
Yeah, where's this guy? Where's he coming from? And then he died in episode 8. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Last Jedi.
No.
And then not really understanding anything more about him. So I don't know. I may have to pick this up or I just wait for you to buy it and then I'll read yours.
Yeah, but you live in a completely different town, John. And I'm
I'll
not going
figure
to
it
see
out.
you physically for like a month. Can you wait that long?
Oh,
Can you wait that long?
Is it an audiobook?
No, but there's a comic app that you can download it on. So
Really?
you can get digital comics.
Oh, nice.
I think it's like $2.99 or something. Oh, not bad.
But anyway, so pretty interesting comic. I may have to pick it up myself and see. So we'll
Randomly, I just want to go backtrack because you mentioned Thrawn being in live action. Maybe they have plans to bring Thrawn into live action and have him be portrayed by Pierce Brosnan. And the reason I say that is because of the art by Jason Palmer, that huge mural at Star Wars Celebration. Yeah. He looked just like Pierce Brosnan. Like I saw it and I was like, that's Pierce. And then like a bunch of other fans like made the same connection. I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one that thinks that. It's Pierce Brosnan. Maybe he's gonna be Thrawn.
Dave is slightly crazy. Just
I do love Thrawn, Dave.
I'm trying to get him some help. Leading in to our final comment that I have listed for us for episode 9 is there was an article that you sent me today that I did not get a chance to post, guys.
Isn't there a Rey comic also?
Yeah, we talked about it already.
Did we? Oh my god, I just blacked out.
Yeah.
I blacked out. I'm so sorry.
We talked about it with the Star Wars show.
I blacked out. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, we talked about it.
For shame. Shame.
I'll post these articles tomorrow, guys. Sith Business in the Real World got to me today. And there's a ton of information. But
Sith Business.
There was an article that Dave sent me that we will be getting a 3rd trailer for The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, and man.
The runtime
for the trailer
is longer. Yeah, the runtime is longer than any other trailer we've received so far. Ooh. 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And it's also longer than the Last Jedi trailers that we received. Now, this one they said is rated. I guess there's multiple rating systems, as we know. There's like a 12A, which could stand for violence or threats or concerns of that nature. And that's really all we know. They just said, hey, we have in good authority. We're getting a 3rd trailer. We know it's going to be this long. And this may be the most violent trailer that we've ever gotten from a Star Wars movie. And I was like, I'm intrigued. I want to know more. What else can we find out? So we don't know when it's going to launch. We don't know when we're going to get to see it. Some people were speculating this was part of the D23 trailer that they just didn't release. It was supposed to release with it Chapter 2, and it didn't release. But some people were saying based off the trailer that was canceled and the time frame that was spoken of and allotted, it's not the same trailer. It was probably something else. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Most violent trailer we may get from a Star Wars movie, and the longest since at least the Last Jedi trailers?
They got to set the tone. They got to go big. They got to let you know what you're walking into. You've already have the second teaser that brings the intrigue. Is Rey going dark? I don't think she's going dark, but that's what they want you to believe. You know, you have the Palpatine outline on the poster. Will we see him in a trailer? I don't think so. I think the next trailer might be just nonsense, battle, more misdirection, keep you hungry. When's it going to air? I don't know. Monday Night Football?
I think that was going to be my guess. It's got to be Monday Night Football. I don't know of anything else major going on before then, unless we're going to wait till like Thanksgiving time frame or something like that, which Thanksgiving would be about a month. No, it's a little bit less than a month because Thanksgiving falls late this year. A little less than a month before the movie actually airs. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see and then go from there. But when it does air, we will digest it.
Of course.
We will show you guys. So That's all the news I have. But there was something that we talked about. We were having a 100th episode contest going on. It's supposed to end today, the day this episode airs, which is September 12th.
That's right.
However, I didn't ask Dave this, and I didn't really think to. I'm going to extend it.
Oh man.
So we're going to extend it through Monday of next week, which is the 16th. So September 16th, we're going to extend it through the rest of this weekend for you guys to attempt it to enter. There's 3 different ways you can enter and send us your information and potentially win items from the Rule of Two, a Star Wars podcast. Remember to send us any of your iTunes reviews, anything of that nature, to the Rule of Two ASW podcast at gmail.com. Again, that's the Rule of Two ASW podcast at gmail.com. And we will have some lucky winners for some swag and some cool things. The red Darth Vader behind Dave up there, too. I'm the gold stormtrooper.
Or you can hit John in the DMs, whatever you prefer.
Oh my God, this DM thing.
But
But anyway, so the contest will be extended through Monday the 16th, and then we'll discuss the winner on Thursday's episode.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
Anything else you want to cover?
I don't think so. But I want to backtrack because you mentioned a rumor that we didn't get a chance to talk about on last show, didn't you?
I mentioned a
Or it was a theory.
it's not.
It was a theory.
It's a theory, and I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it because I feel that we could get pretty in depth with it, and it could be another episode.
That big of a theory.
It's not that huge of a theory. I don't know. We can talk about it. I'm just telling you.
Okay, let's keep it under 5 minutes. Or at 5 minutes. Can we do that?
So, okay.
What do you got? Lay it on me. Come on.
So it's about C3PO
Okay.
and the red eyes.
Okay.
And I'm sure that in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you probably thought about this or talked about this. But C3PO was created by who? Anakin Skywalker, who we know becomes Darth Vader.
Yeah.
The theory or speculation is that C3PO was actually like a double agent and was working for the Empire the entire time and relaying information to the Galactic Empire during this time. And then finally, in The Rise of Skywalker, he understands, like, his true self comes out, his eyes change, he becomes for the dark side and lets everybody know that. And the reason this theory and speculation came out, because in Marvel Star Wars comic number 71, they talk about him reuniting with Darth Vader.
Okay. Anything else to that theory?
No. That's the nuts and bolts of it. There was a big old long article on it, but I was like, oh, that's a lot of... It kind of broke down their reasoning behind it, but overall that was the nuts and bolts of their theory, saying he was actually working for the dark side the entire time because he was created by Anakin Skywalker.
What are your thoughts?
So I can see it as a possibility. It would be, I don't know if it would be the biggest kind of, how do you say it, the biggest kind of secret in the Star Wars universe. I think there's others that could have been bigger or are bigger, but that's pretty big. And the fact that that was kept under wraps for 9 movies over 40 years, that's a pretty big thing. It could explain a little bit about how the Empire was able to track in The Last Jedi, track the Resistance in The Last Jedi. It could explain the reason why the Empire was so hot on the Resistance tails through things. So I can see it, but I don't think I'm completely sold on it. But that would be a huge turn.
I don't think it has any weight, any levity at all. I think somebody's speculating, they're grabbing at straws. I think it's too bold. There hasn't been any substantial hints at this. The entirety of the saga, I think it'd be way too out of left field.
Yeah, and so one thing it says
Way too out of left field.
In the comic, it does say he meets up with Darth Vader, but again, Darth Vader returned to the light side. Well, would you say he's Darth Vader if he returned back to the Jedi? Or back to the light side?
Yeah, he gets redeemed at the end.
Well,
He
but
goes
is he
back to
really
the light.
but is he really a Darth Vader at that point?
No, he goes back to being Anakin Skywalker.
Okay. So
Well, he embraces his name as Anakin Skywalker again.
yeah. So there's been speculation as well that Hayden Christensen is returning to Episode 9. We talked about this on the last episode. So I could see him returning and meeting once again with the individual who created him, which was Anakin Skywalker, who became Darth Vader. But I agree with you. If that's something they've kept under wraps for this long, that's a huge reveal. And I think the expectation of that reveal would have to be pretty substantial to let it be known in the way they show it. I think it's very far-fetched, as you said too, but it's a pretty big reveal if they kept it under wraps.
It's too wild. I don't think they're gonna go that route. Vader is not the big bad of the story. If he was reporting to Vader, Vader's been gone for 30 years. He's not reporting to the First Order now. You all right over there?
Yeah, so sorry. But what if it was something that he originally was reporting to Vader and then turned around and started reporting to the Emperor, who we know is coming back in Episode 9 and may have been pulling the strings in the background for the last 2 movies?
No, I don't see that. How is that just going to happen?
Stuff.
Exactly. How's he just? No, it's too much in the weeds. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm not even gonna give it any more levity or credibility. I don't think it's gonna happen. If it does, it'll blow my mind, but I don't see it happening. It's just too much.
You've heard it here first. It'll blow
much.
Dave's mind. They did say it would melt your
Not
Episode 9 would melt your mind. Anyway, guys,
that's not a mind melting thing. That's not.
All right.
I'm done.
Okay. We finished our 5 minutes, guys. We thank you for tuning in today. We are the Rule of Two of Star Wars podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Patreon, TeePublic, as well as our friends over at Ultra Savers, and receive a 10% off coupon code when you enter Force Feels, all one word, all caps. Until next time, may the Force be with you. Thank you for tuning in today. We are The Rule of Two, a Star Wars podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Rule of Two Pod. Check us out on our website at www.theruleoftwopodcast.com or send us an email via contact@theruleoftwopodcast.com. Check us out on Patreon and TeePublic for exclusive deals and merchandise. And we are in no way affiliated with Disney, Lucasfilms, or the Collider podcast Rule of Two. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.